WMKT 7:53 this morning. Chatting with Dan Wilson from the advocacy group Parents for Children. Also, one of their people they're representing is Jessie Rogers is on the line with me right now as well. Chatting about a real interesting case of unusual, what seems to be unusual custody discussion. Got a call here on the broadcast here this morning. Dan, let's go ahead and take that one this morning and say hi to Lindsay, who's on the line at WMKT. Lindsay, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Glad to do it. How can we serve you today?
Well, good morning, Jessie. Good morning, Dan. I am the baby's aunt.
Oh, everybody knows each other then. There you go.
There we go. Okay. I'm the baby's aunt, and there's a couple things that I wanted to address and ask Jessie to talk about. This is, a very difficult story. It's very difficult on both sides. I personally have a vested interest in that. I know Jessie very well. I know the father very well. In addition, my own parents were married and divorced 3 times. I have 7 brothers and 1 sister, so I've been in this situation.
Okay, I have to ask you. I have to ask you to get to the questions because I'm running short on time.
Well, the first one is Dan addressed that there had been no offer made. There actually was an offer made just last week, and before that, there were a couple other things that were discussed. The offer was that the father's family would drive to Lansing, Michigan. Jessie would have to meet them there, which is 4 hours from her house. I believe it was once every 2 weeks, so Jessie would only have to drive to Lansing. She would be able to keep the child support that the father is already paying to her in exchange for having longer visitation. I wanted to ask about that first because I know that money is the issue. That is a very hard trip to make, but I wanted to get their response to that offer.
Okay, I'll let Dan respond as appropriate. Yeah, go ahead.
Lindsay, I'm really glad you called. It's unfortunately that this legal action was brought because I don't think the child can ill afford to have this continue on both sides. So I'm really glad you opened the door here because that's what needs to take place. Unfortunately, this action was brought by your brother-in-law, and because it's an action pending in the Mackinac County court system, that offer should have been made to through their attorney. Okay, I had kind of a feeling that this might happen, so I checked with Janet last night before we went on the air this morning to see if there had been any offer made. And there has been absolutely no communication whatsoever from the attorney on your side. I would suggest that after you get done with this broadcast, you give him a call or have the other parties give him a call and say, get on the phone with Janet, let's do the right thing, and let's work something out.
Right. No, that's fine. I know exactly what you're saying. Jessie's concern was the legal expense involved. And in response to that, the family was actually trying to do it without attorneys to see if just Jessie and just the father could come to some sort of compromise, which is really the ideal situation, is to keep this entire thing out of the court. For these 2 grown adults to together come to the best decision for this child, which is what they're trying to do. So I would like to know what Jessie's response would be to that kind of offer.
You know something? Unfortunately, you have brought, you and your friends have brought the action, okay? Janet did not bring the action. Jessie didn't bring the action. It's in the court system. It's pending Monday before Judge Graham, okay? That's not something Jessie can or should address at this time. But I behoove you, please, call the attorney, the other attorney involved. Have him get on involved with Janet about this. Janet is not new to this. Janet, for the last 12 years, has practiced in 68 counties in the state of Michigan. We care about families staying together, not the
But if the issue here is about money, if we're talking about money, then let's talk about money. You've only said what it would cost, not what you would be willing to compromise. You've given absolutely no indication that Jessie wants any particular outcome. You've only thus far talked about the problem. And that's been an issue through this entire case, is that there has been so little headway on any kind of compromise. Let's talk a compromise here. What would you all be willing to do? What's the ideal situation?
Well, the problem is, in this point, we're almost out of time. I've got about a minute left, so I can't really let it all negotiate here on the radio. But it sounds like it's exciting that you two are getting together and trying to talk a little bit, and everybody. So well, hopefully everybody will get together and chat a little bit on this one. I hate to cut it short, but I'm just out of time, Bill. But thanks for calling in, Lindsay, and opening the door. We appreciate that, as Dan said a little bit.
Sure. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good talking to you today.